Hey, what's up, team? Look, let's just get a few viewers here. I've just got Mike waiting to come on. We got New Zealand of the Year, Mike King, a great friend. So I'm really blessed to have him on and just talk about all things mental health and just catch up with him and see how he's going. So before we start, can everyone please share this post? If we can share the post, get as many people in here, tag people that really need some uplifting. And let's just get this started. So I'll bring Mike in. All right. Hey, brother, we're on.
How are you, Cuz?
How are you, brother?
Looking forward to a haircut, Cuzzy. 5 weeks without a haircut.
That's why I've been wearing a hat, bro.
5 weeks, man. Like, I used to get my haircut made once a fortnight, my poor Tongan boy in Manga there, old Ben the barber, he must be feeling it, Cuz.
Can always come over and get a haircut for my wife's a hairdresser, so she'll give you a haircut.
Bro. In your bubble, bro.
How's everything going, bro? Since this
everything's going good, man. Everything's going good. Like everyone else, man, feeling the pinch. There's no money coming in. I had the bike crash at the beginning of the year, and the beginning of the year is my busiest time, so I lost out a whole lot of work, which would have usually taken me through till April, and so then I was on compo for a while with my shoulder and jumped straight out, and they said you should be on compo for a year, and I went, who can live on compo? And I got one job, and then the virus hit, so rang them up, say, hey, how about putting me back on compo? They were like, hey, too late. So like everybody, man, it's feeling the pinch. Had to go to the bank and put the mortgage on lock for a while, and but every time you think you're going to get down on something, man, I just, rather than, which is human nature, look at someone above me and get resentful about how well they're doing. I just look down. Realize that there's a whole lot of people out there that are doing a whole lot tougher than I am. Yeah. They're doing it a whole lot tougher than I am during this recession, this pandemic. They were doing a whole lot worse than me way before all of this, and it really puts everything into perspective, Gus.
Yeah, and so we'll get into the work you're doing now, and really, this was really just an informal. I just reached out, say, let's catch up, on here, and it'd be good to help our people. But we met back in 2014 through Boris. Boris, the Bulgarian Maori, introduced us, and we did it on that show, on your show, the Nutters Club. I've been on that show a few times. Amazing work. Last time we took on Wuramu the last time. Yeah. But you actually had, when I met you, obviously, I was like, oh, man, it's Mike King. But then you were talking that you hung around with some of the same people that my father was hanging around with back in the days.
I hung around with your dad.
Oh, okay.
Your dad was one of the staunchest, scariest men I have ever met in my life back then. I've seen a lot of hardcore dudes in my time, bro, Parry vets, but, he was way above everyone else. So when you brought Dad to meet me again, I found that really inspiring, because your dad was a man of few words. Like, I used to hang out with Cityside Mongrel Mob way back in the day, back in 1970s, late 70s, early 80s, when and your dad was about, and he was, he could drop people with a look. He just look, and bad things about to happen. And so when I met your dad and see all the changes that he's gone through and the wonderful work, it came at a really good time for me, because like I'd been clean and sober since 2007, but was still, I was only 7 years in, but was still struggling, and I was transitioning out of stand-up comedy and being a comedian, and a comedian with a style of comedy that was dead. It was misogynistic, it was homophobic, it was put down, it was aggressive, and that was my audience as well. So I was kind of lost as a person, but when I met him and saw the changes that he had made, particularly in the community, I found it really inspiring, and I thought, well, you know, if your dad can make a shift as significant as he has from this to this, then it should be easy. So I came away from that meeting, you know, like not only happy to see your dad again, but also knowing that I could make the change. So, you know, your dad played and yourself obviously played a significant part in the role that I'm playing now, because, you know, when you're transitioning, which is what a lot of your people are doing, it's hard, man. It's really hard. I mean, it's, you know, look, how about I share a bit of my story with the crew first, and give them some background, and then, like, it'll take me about 30 minutes, and then you sit down and we can rap about what we think. But you and your dad, I mean, even like you look at your transition, man, you know, and that's going to be the theme of tonight. You know, when you transition out of one life into another life, people think it's just about changing your, like, in particularly changing your eating habits. It's not about changing eating habits. It's about changing your life, because your life is also is directed by the people you have in your life. Like, I'm a drug addict and alcoholic. So when I gave up drugs and alcohol, I thought it was about giving up drugs and alcohol, and that would be easy. But I had to give up my life. I had to give up my friends. I had to give up my ex. You know, I had to give up everything, because there were all these powers that were pulling me back and wanting me to come back. Friends, family members who were super resentful of the change, because what you don't realize is when you're in the lifestyle that you're trying to leave behind, is you are validating other people's lifestyle. They are looking at you and saying, well, the bar's up here, I'm only here. You know, friends come around and go, you know, oh, you know, their wives going, you're drinking too much and you're smoking too much weed. I'm drinking too much. Look at Mike King. Look what he's doing, you know. So there are all these factors that come in, and then you've got your friends. Come on, bro. It's just me, cuzzy. One time, man. It's just me. It's no one else. You know, drug dealers went out of business when I quit. You know, they were all coming back, and yeah, man, have it for free, bro. You know, so and I didn't have one dealer. I had lots of dealers. You know, so what I'll do is I'll lay the foundation and talk about where the addiction, where addictions come from, especially eating. You know, like, I don't believe I believe Māori and Polynesian are different from say the Pākehā culture when it comes to eating disorders. You know, a lot of Pākehā culture is around psychological, and you know, I'm generalizing. So if you're a Pākehā out there, please don't get upset. But for our culture, food is our love language. You know, it's our love language. It's what we have been brought up with. Things are really tough. You know, there's you know, potentially a lot of psychological and physical violence, anger, and what brings families back together and the love is food. That's you know, that's the language that we talk. You know, the more food you eat, or the more food you provide as a parent, the more love I have for you. And that's really confusing for us. So, you know, when times are stressful for us, we eat. or we drink or we do drugs. This is the love language that we use, and for a lot of us, when you haven't had that easy emotional love connection of you, especially if you come from old school families where everyone was staunch, I love your dad, but I don't think he picked you up too many times. And I love you, my little bubba. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't feel connected, so you're always looking for connection, and you're also using it to beat off rejection. And rejection is a big part of our life, and it's self-rejection. It's not it's perceived rejection. So that's going to be the theme of my chat. So I'll see you. I'll chat with you in about 30, bro. So. For those of you who don't know me out there, and I don't expect everyone to know me, my name's Mike King. I'm a former stand-up comedian. I was a stand-up comedian for over 20 years in this country, which is, pretty cool job for a Māori boy, And in my past life, I got to stand on stage, swear at white people, and get paid for it. It's every Māori's dream job. There's only one other Māori I know who does this for a living. His name's Honi Harawira. No, I'm kidding. Most people know me through my comedy, and through my comedy, they know me as a confident. They know me as confident, aggressive, politically incorrect, foul-mouthed stand-up comedian. I was the first comedian in the country to drop the F-bomb and the C-bomb on national TV in an era where it was completely unheard of. In first TV show called Pulp Comedy. So most people know me through that persona. So they know me as that, like I said, confident, politically incorrect, foul-mouthed stand-up comedian. What most people don't know about me, or just learning about me, is that I'm a drug addict. I'm an alcoholic. And I've had self-esteem issues for most of my life. I've had confidence issues for most of my life. Issues that I hid behind a really staunch, confident exterior when I was a little kid. But underneath that staunch, aggressive exterior, there was a little boy who was terrified that people were going to find out that I was vulnerable. So I've always had issues ever since I was a little kid. When I was coming up, my dad was the biggest hero in my life. All I wanted from my dad was approval. I was always looking to be approved by my dad. I was always looking for my dad to pat me on the head and go, yeah, that's my boy. Look at me like I'm a future All Black. Come on, man. Like I said before, it was old school. They didn't pat kids on the head. They booted them in the ass, and I got a lot of kicks in the ass from him. My dad was your typical Kiwi bloke. He was good with his hands, could build anything. He was a great musician, my dad. He couldn't read music, but he used to, he could play anything. He'd bring instruments home. He brought a set of bagpipes home one time, and in 24 hours, he could play them like a Scotsman. He was a good-looking fella, great at sports. That's really important. For a young Kiwi fella, your dad's good at sports, good-looking fella with heaps of mates, and I wanted to be just like my dad. Sadly, I had feet for hands. So I couldn't build anything. I was useless at sports. I was tone deaf, and I was an ugly child. 4'11", buck teeth, big ears, had a massive head. My head was huge. It looks normal now, but you imagine this head on a little bubba's body, man. That's a big head. True story, David. I knew on the day I was born, I had a big head. Like on the day I was born at Helensville Hospital, April 12, 1962, Helensville Hospital. On the day I was born, I remember coming up, my mum and the doctor looked at me and go, fuck, this fella got a big head. So I've always had issues around the way I look, which most people have, But most of us don't admit. So, especially blokes, most blokes, we're always wearing masks. We always pretend we got our shit together. Lesson number one in mental health: no one has got their shit together. No one, no matter what you're seeing on the outside, no one has got their shit together. So by the time I got to school, I was teased mercilessly at school. My nickname at school was Head. So in order not to get teased, I used to sit outside the staff room. Because no one teases you outside the staff room, because if they get caught, they're in trouble. So I used to sit outside the staff room. I had one friend who used to sit there with me. His name was Nigel. Now, that was his real name too, but I'm not making that shit up. I don't know what's wrong with Nigel. I had a big head. Nigel was Fijian. I think he had big feet. And we'd sit there and we'd talk, but most of the time, I would have conversations with myself. I'd have conversations like I got two voices in my head. Now, I call them voices. They're not actually voices. It's a metaphor for overthinking. It's a metaphor for overthinking. So I got two voices in my head. Most people have got two voices in their head. I know there's some of your mates sitting there go, I don't have conversation with myself. I'm not crazy like you. Everyone, lesson number 2 in mental health. Everyone has conversations with themselves. White people call it thinking. Everyone we think, that's a conversation with ourselves. But the difference, and this is my point, the difference between confident people, how confident people think, and how people with rejection issues, self-esteem issues, confident issues, how we think is completely different. Completely different. Mm-hmm. So I have these conversations with myself all the time. So the two voices, let's call voice A the devil and voice B the angel. Obviously, again, this is a metaphor. I'm not Brian Tambaki. This isn't the church. Look, there's no Harleys behind me. I'm not the dark side. It's a metaphor. One's obviously bad thinking, and the other one's obviously good thinking. Now the devil has a clinical and an academic name. He or she is called the inner critic. The inner critic. That's that little voice that undermines your logical thinking and has you second guessing the things you do, say, and see throughout the day. The inner critic is the biggest problem in mental health today. All the academics and the clinicians will tell you the biggest problem in mental health is depression and anxiety. It's not true. Before depression and anxiety comes in, there's that little voice in your head that constantly has you second guessing everything. For example, you might be walking down the road. Hey, Davey, how you going, man? And Davey just ignores me. Suddenly, you're in the critical. Oh, Dave hates you, man. That's why I told you. Or, you might see someone in the cafe and you smile and they don't smile back. Was that motherfucker, was he thinking bad? He was, man. He was. Or even worse. You go into the fridge when you know you shouldn't have eaten that ice cream and that chocolate bar, but you do anything. Geez, you're weak, man. What the hell's the matter? Or even worse, let's get some more of that ice cream, man. We need some more of that ice cream. Come on, man. This is our love language. When you used to get a hiding at home, you always got ice cream. This is what lifts us up. So, the inner critic is that little voice that doesn't allow you to take confidence for yourself. It's that little voice that won't, like, I can't take a compliment. When you introduced me, Davey, you introduced me as New Zealander of the Year. Straight away, the cringe, can't give myself a compliment. Why? Because my whole life I've been rejecting myself. This is all a front. But I've been rejecting my whole self, my whole life. So I can't take a compliment. I made one. He come over today. He said, "Hey, bro, who painted that picture?" Yeah. I painted it. No way, man! I didn't know you was a painter, bro. Paul, man, you could do that for a living, cuz. You know, I was like, shut up, man. My mate is praising me up. All I'm thinking, oh yeah, but the colors don't match. Their mountains all wrong. You know, their village that they're not a village. It's a shit painting. You're a shit painter. Now, what most people don't realize, like, not 99% of us have that conversation with ourselves every day. 100% of all your beaners have that conversation with themselves every single day. And not once either. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times a day. That is the biggest problem in mental health today. Those conversations we have with ourselves. As I said, 100% of the people who are watching us right now have that conversation, but no one ever says shit. No one ever says anything about it. Why? Because we live in a world where the only acceptable standard is perfection. Everyone has to be perfect. So every day we put on this mask and we pretend we have got our shit together. Remember lesson number 1? No one has got their shit together. Ashley Bloomfield, Jacinda Ardern, they look like that. Grant Robertson, they all look like they got their shit. None of them have got their shit together. I guarantee you, every single one of them over the last 5 weeks have gone to bed on more than one occasion crying himself to sleep. Your dad, Dave, I remember having that conversation with him. He was the staunchest man in the world. He was in D Block at Perryman, the staunchest block there, and he was telling me that every night when that cell door closed, he would take off his mask and he would cry himself to sleep. We all do it. Everyone does. And if you don't believe in it, you do it. Look, here's the proof. Every single day, I guarantee you, in the last 6 months, every single person who is watching this has left home at some stage feeling like absolute shit. But the first person that pops up, hey bro, how you going? I'm good. I want to stab you in the face with a fork, but I'm good. That's the big problem. We're all masking. And that's fine. You know, we all going to do that at some stage in our life. But think about this. Every time you put on your mask and you pretend you got your shit together, there is someone else who is super vulnerable, maybe even feeling suicidal, who is also wearing their mask. And all they are seeing is people who are saying, I'm good. I'm in a great place. Everything's, on lock. I got everything down. Every time, then their little inner critic is sitting there going, see, bud, it's only you. No one cares about you, man. You're the loser. You know, this fact that we're not showing vulnerability is having a devastating effect on our young people. So the inner critic's sole job is to isolate us, is to get us away from everyone, is to lock us in a room and to tell us that no one else cares. And our other options are fuck the world. That's the inner critic's job, to get us by ourselves and make you think that no one cares. So now he or she can bend your will. And it might be something like, man, this is all bullshit, bro. Let's just eat, man. Let's eat, man. This is how, let's drink, man. Let's call up the crack dealer. That's the inner critic's job. The inner critic's job is to disconnect us from society, to give us an excuse to go back to our love language, whatever that love language is, to always go back. Why? Because it's easy. The mind is a really, when you've been doing something your whole life, it's like one sheet, one thought running around your head all the time, all the time. And the more you run around that thinking pattern, more thoughts come in. So more sheep join. And before you know it, you've got a bunch of thoughts running around and around and around. What you are undergoing now, what you are doing now, is you are taking yourself out of that pack and you're trying to carve yourself a new trail. And carving new trails is hard, man. It's not a well-beaten track. You've got to chop down sticks and there's all kinds of shit sticking out of the ground and rivers that you didn't know were there. These are all the problems that are associated. Meanwhile, the pack is still going around the same track and they're shouting at you, man, what are you doing over there, loser? Come on, man, come back, come back, come back. So, you might get right around and you get that wonderful sense of achievement. You go, man, I've got this on lock now. And you think, yeah, this is easy. I've been doing this. I've got one lap in. I've got 1 year in, man. So but you forget that it took you a long time to get around that track, and a lot of shit can grow in a year. And you forget about that little river and you fall down and you trip. So for a lot of us, getting around that first year, getting around that first week, getting around that first month, that's the easy bit. Because inner critics hate determination. When you're determined, inner critics just piss off and you think it's gone. The second voice everyone has in their head is the angel. The angel has a academic and a clinical name too. He or she, it's called the voice of reason. That's that little voice that lifts you up in times of strife. That little voice that comes in and says, come on, man. Look at Dave, the way he's looking. Dave's not looking at you. And yes, he is, man. Look at the way he's looking at you, bro. He hates you. Dave doesn't hate you. Now, when you live in a perfect society where everyone's pretending they got their shit together, the inner critic is up here. It is constantly up here. And the voice of reason is down here. The correct balance between there is no correct balance, but what I've found in my life is the correct balance is 70% angel, 30% inner critic. People say to me all the time, man, how do you get rid of that? How do you get rid of that? You don't get rid of that voice. That voice, that thought pattern is part of who you are. Everyone has an inner critic. You need an inner critic. An inner critic is an important part of everyone's life. Why? Because everyone needs to self-analyze. Everyone needs to reflect on the things that we do, that we say, and that we see every single day. We need to reflect on it. Man, I shouldn't have snapped Dave off today, man. I better go and check in on him later on. I better go and make sure that we're good. If you don't have an inner critic, you've got no self-centric. If you don't have an inner critic, you either you live in a bubble, or your name's Mike Hosking and Donald Trump. You're a fucking dickhead, man. Seriously. Everyone, because if you don't have this inner critic, what you're saying to the world is, no, everything that comes out of my mouth is truly amazing. I'm an awesome human. No, you're a cock, mate. Everyone needs to reflect on the things that we do, say, and see throughout the day. So the biggest problem, so we've got to restore that balance between loving ourselves, which is
what's happened, Mike? There you are. So good. You there, Mike? Oh, no. You there, Mike?
Hey, is anyone on there?
You there, bro? Won't be a second team. We'll get him back. This is just amazing. There you are. You there, bro? There you are, bro.
Sorry, family. We've got.
Won't be a second team. We're just having some technical. Amazing. It's amazing. There you are, brother.
Back?
Yep, you're back.
Sorry, Fano. We're on shared Wi-Fi here, and I've everyone out of my lounge to be closer to the router, and of course all in the rooms, and they've all fired up, and it's 8 o'clock at night when router speeds are all slow anyway. Yeah, so it's about restoring balance between the voice of reason, which should be the dominating, and the inner critic. But as I said, everyone needs an inner critic, and you can't alter that self-talk. So the biggest problem in mental health today is the inner critic, and the effect that it's having on us as parents is having a devastating effect on our kids. So let me explain that, and then we'll get to the question. So when you're constantly in front of your kids, appearing like you have got your shit together, when you are constantly telling them and pointing out the things that they are doing wrong, which is what society makes us do. I mean, in our jobs have a devastating effect on how we think when we get home. For example, the way we work is completely different now to what it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, people would just go into the meatworks or go into whatever job it is, wear whatever the fuck you want, do whatever you want. Nowadays, health and safety and KPIs, KPIs, what are those things? Do you know what a KPI is? Fucking targets that you have to meet.
Yeah.
Is having a devastating effect. So no matter what your job title is, whether you're the CEO of a company, whether you're the chairman of the Sky City board, whether you're a road sweeper, hairdresser, whatever your job is, everyone's got different job titles. But nowadays, everyone's job description is the same. We are all risk managers now. For example, Dave, when you apply for funding to help out your butterbeaners, you like 10 years ago, you could have just walked into the office and go, here's what I do, man. I take people who are overweight, people at risk of diabetes, and here's what I do. I take them out and I exercise. So the people who are about to give you money, first thing they're thinking is, okay, that's wonderful, David. Good for you. Have a couple of concerns. So what do you mean? Well, we run up the side of hills. I take them upstairs. Oh. And in their head start thinking, what about if someone falls? What if someone falls down? What if someone has a heart attack? What about if you're pushing them too hard? So they're thinking of the risk involved in giving you the money. So it's gone from a really simple idea of, I get people in groups, I give them a sense of community, and we all work together for the common goal. But in their mind, all they're thinking is, if someone dies and we gave them money, we're in the shit. Risk management is having a devastating effect on everybody. 99% of what everyone does with their day is perfect. It's perfect. But no one, lesson number 4, no one gives a fuck about what you're doing right. Everyone, 99% of our effort is focused on the 1% that could go wrong, is going wrong, or what might be going wrong, what has gone wrong in the past. We're always focusing on the potential danger, the thing that's happened before, the thing that could happen in the future, or the thing that is happening right now. And the effect that that's having on us is, as I said, 99% of what we're doing is perfect. Everyone's always focused on the mistake. So, for example, my job during the day, I work down on the wharf down in Auckland. I drive a straddle carrier. On Saturday, man, my job is to put containers in a straight line. On Saturday, I put down 100 containers. 99 of them were laser straight. You could look down there. You could shave off the edge that I put down. Last container, slightly crooked. What was my boss focused on, bro? Well, he wasn't focused on the 9. He's like, hey, what happened here? What happened here? Well, there's a bollard. I don't care about the bollard. Your job is put containers down straight line. This is a safety issue. How many times have I told you that this is a safety issue? You need to get your shit together. Now I'm going home now, man. I'm thinking, Jesus, man, like I got like 99 containers were dead straight today. My record is 7, but he give a fuck about the 99. Nah, all he was focused on was that one container that was cool. And that wasn't even my fault, man. There was a stinking bollard in the way. And why was that bollard in the way? Because he told me where to start. He told me where to put the first container. You can't get a zigzag paper between those containers. So if he told me to start 6 inches down, that could. So we got home, right? We're feeling angry. We're feeling resentful. We're feeling like nobody cares. And this is the world that we live in now. Everyone else is perfect. Everyone else is having a great day. This is food for your inner critic, man. He's lovely. So by the time you get home, you got all this, man, 99, I can't believe it. This one thing. And he's threatening, this motherfucker threatening me with my job. And when you walk into your house, without you even realizing it, there's a power shift. Suddenly you walk in the house and suddenly I'm the CEO and all you little bastards work for. Hey, who left that sock on the floor? How many times have I told you do not leave your, what, didn't I tell you to do those dishes before I went away? Now there's flies over everything and it's your, like, didn't I tell you to bring in that washing? I told you. Mother said before she got home, and now it's been raining, all the washing's wet, and we're all in the shit, and it's your fault. Little things that we say to our kids on a daily basis, not because we're bad parents, it's because the environment that we live in, you know, we're constantly putting them down, constantly pulling up their mistakes. Not because we're bad people, it's because this is what I live in every single day. Every single day. Now, the inner critic is the biggest problem in mental health today, right? It drove me to drink. It drove me to drugs. Now, our current strategy for dealing with drink and drugs in this country is bullshit. It deals in the crisis. So if you're a drug addict and you're an alcoholic, the first thing all our academics and clinicians do is want to take that shit off you. First thing, most of the people, every single one of you out there that's watching this as part of the Butter Bean is, you know, everyone thinks the solution to your problem, put the fucking pie down, bro. You know, I can't walk. Yeah, well, you can still walk to the fridge. You can still walk. Stop. That's not our problem. You know, that's the trigger to our problem. No alcoholic, no drug addict. People think we do this for fun. That's how you have fun, man. You just go eat, you drink. No alcoholic, no drug addict, no person with an eating disorder does that shit to have fun. We all do it to run from hell. And what's hell? That little voice that winds you up every single day. You know, most people, normal people, everyone has an inner critic. Most normal people's inner critic most people have a normal inner critic. Our inner critic is not normal. Our inner critic is like a screaming newborn baby with colic, going 24/7 inside your head, telling you that you're a useless piece of shit, reminding you that you're a shit parent. You were supposed to change everything when we were coming up, but you're useless, you're terrible, you're this person. And for me, getting wasted was like leaving the crying baby in the room and going into the lounge and getting a break, get a buzz on and just sit back. And I can still hear the crying baby crying faintly in the background, but it's now at a distance that I can live with. But the problem with that isn't it the same when you go and eat? You get great comfort. It takes you back to that loving place that and you're sitting there. Only problem is a buzz only lasts for 5 or 6 hours. And then after 5 or 6 hours, you have to go back into the bedroom. The baby's screaming louder and you've got a headache. And the only way to get over that headache is to get wasted again. Get wasted again. And get wasted again. This is called the relentless pursuit of temporary happiness. Every time you feed the beast, it's relentlessly satisfying, but it doesn't last long enough, which is why junkies use more and more gear, which is why alkies use more and more alcohol, which is why people eat more and more and more, because it shuts up our inner critic. The inner critic's the biggest problem. So I've outlined the problem. What's the solution? The solution for everyone's inner critic problem is the only thing that can get rid of an inner critic is a friend or a workmate. It can't be family. Why? Because family have to love you. It's in the contract. Every time I have been in the shit in my life, when I've gone into a dark hole, when my inner critic's taken over my life, my wife will say to me, "Oh, you're the most fantastic husband in the world." And instead of my angel going, "See, I told you, it's my inner critic." Well, what else are you going to say, loser? You know, she had to marry you. She got to justify her shit. My kids, you're the greatest dad in the world. Well, what else are they going to say, man? What else are they going to say? They want you to buy them shit. That's what you're on here. That's the only reason they don't love you. You just supply shit for them. Right? So their own families can't take. And most of us have been frustrated with family. Most of you will sit there with your kids and, they'll come home and they'll go, "Oh, Dad, I've been working on my b-ball and, my teacher down the road there never played basketball and she told me to do this." And you're sitting there going, "Man, I told you to do that 2 years ago, you little shit." Why? Because we don't listen to the only ones that can get rid of an inner critic are friends and workmates. So this is why, I don't know if you know, this is why BBM works, because they're not family. It's an adopted family, just like your friends are your adopted, and you can share things with each other. Why? Because you're living an experience together. You're reconnecting with society again, but the first people you need to connect with when you reconnect is people who are going through the same experience with you. And every single one of your inner critics will be hating this experience. While you're in the training, he won't be saying shit, But the second you leave that training and someone says, "Oh man, you have lost so much weight, man, you are doing so well." As soon as you're by yourself, man, they full of shit. Look in the mirror, loser. Look in the mirror. Look. So the only thing that can save you is a friend or a workmate. So when I was at my lowest, when I was sitting in my bedroom a few years ago, again, this is what the inner critic wants to do. Wants to keep you by yourself. And when my inner critic was pounding me, "What's the point, man? We don't need to live in this world anymore. Let's just get the hell out of here. This is a waste of time." The only thing that saved me was a friend who ignored the fact that I wouldn't answer the phone. A friend who ignored the fact that I wouldn't answer the knocks on my door. He came into my house uninvited. He came into my room and he look at me and go, "Oh man, I know what you're going through. I've been through the same shit." Biggest mistake that you can make when someone's going through shit, it's go, man, I know what you're going through. I've been there, and you may have been there, but remember this: our experience is always different. Like my mum, just like, yeah, I know what it's like, man. My mum died too. The only thing we have in common there is we've both lost someone we love. How we live through that experience, what we do with that experience is completely different. My friend didn't do that. He just told me the truth. First thing, man, you look like shit. Like, oh, well, Jesus, thanks very much for that, Robert Redford. Thanks very much for that, Brad Pitt. Like, you look awesome yourself, you know. But he told me, he goes, and then he reminded me that I have value in his life. He told me all of the things that, he said, man, you got to get your shit together, man, because I need you in my life. You know, you do this for me, you do that for me. He gave me my value back. He relentlessly gave. I moved into this man's house. He took me in. I was supposed to be in his house for a couple of weeks while I sorted out some accommodation. I lived with this fucker for 5 years, bro. Through 4 house moves. Started out living on a mattress on the floor. You know, he kept saying, I'll buy you a bed. I don't want a bed, bro. It's only temporary. I lived on a mattress on the floor. So in my mind, I was only temporarily living with him. So it's a friend who gives you your value back. So my challenge to everyone out there that's listening is we have to change how we think about stuff, right? We're constantly, like a lot of you guys there today who are watching this, you'll be comparing yourself to something completely unrealistic. You'll be sitting there looking at someone walking down the road in their leotards. You go, look at that skanky bitch. Who does she think she is? Look at that. Man. We start comparing ourselves to other people. Now, comparison is the death of happiness. As soon as you start comparing yourself to somebody else, you are digging a hole for yourself. 2 reasons. One, you're comparing yourself against something that has a completely different genetic makeup, completely different life circumstance from you. And you're always comparing yourself to something that in your eyes is better than you. But 2 things here. The second thing is you're not actually comparing yourself to a person. You're comparing yourself to a person wearing a mask. Remember, we all put on our masks and we all pretend we've got our shit together. And she might be pretty, he might be muscly, he might be driving a nice car, but no one knows what's going on. That car might be rented. He might, go into a swanky office, but he might have millions of dollars in debt. Or even worse, he might have a wife. She might have a boyfriend who's cheating on. No one knows what's going on behind the mask. Now, people say to me well, we all got to stop comparing ourselves to someone. That's like saying to another human being, man, we got to stop breathing. You can't help but compare yourself to other people. So the solution is we compare ourselves to somebody else, to somebody who is struggling. Now, I'll give you an example. Before the lockdown, I was at the airport. I was in the airport Koru Lounge, and I was reading through social media, and I read a comment, and the comment was, it was something about, someone was commending me for something that I had done. And one of the comments was, that asshole, he just, he's making the money off the backs of people who are struggling. Asshole, right? Now, straight away, I'm sitting there going, man, you don't know me, man. You don't know me. I don't get paid by my charity. I don't get paid to go and speak in schools. I pay for myself to go speak in schools. I travel there. I pay all my own costs. I go in these communities. My family. So I'm resentful, right? I see 2 people in the lounge wearing all their Prada shit, these tens of thousands of dollars. And straight away, look at those assholes. Now I immediately catch myself. Here I am comparing myself to a couple of rich white people. I catch myself. And this is the secret. You got to catch yourself. And I knew I needed to get out of there. And I go looking for people that I call people who are doing vital but insignificant tasks. Vital but insignificant tasks. What's a vital but insignificant task? Picking up trays off table, mopping floors, whatever it is they're doing, right? So I went into the wharipaku, I went into the toilet at the airport, and I walked into that toilet at the airport, and there was a little Asian man, with the mop ready to thing, and he's got the sign out. All the, what airport toilets like, man. Millions of people look at this fellow, go, hey man, fucking can't you do this another time? Look, heaps of fucking people here, man. We all need the piss, we all need the shit. Get out of my way, right? And he was just standing there waiting for thing, and everyone resentfully looking at him. So I see this, right? And I go straight up, hey man, how's your day? And he kind of walks back and goes, well, you talking over right? So yeah, man, how's your day? How's your day? And he looked at me and he smiled and went, oh, my day's great, Mike. How's your day? I said, man, my day's awesome. And we had this conversation, right, where we connected. I asked him about his whānau here. And when I was talking to this man, I wasn't in my mind going, this guy is, this guy is a cleaner and whatever, what I was thinking in my head, and this is where you readjust your thinking. I was thinking, this guy's a fucking hero. He's not a toilet. He is a hero. Why is he a hero? Because he washes other people's shit off a toilet and off the floor to feed his family. Let me say that again. He washes other people's feces and urine. He cleans it up to feed his family. That's a hero, man. That's not a cleaner. That's a goddamn hero, because 99% of people wouldn't ever think you. So when I left, I give this dude a hug, right? When I left, I give him a hug, and I know, and he goes, hey man, thanks, Mike. You have a great day. I said, you have a great day too, brother. And I walked out, right? Now I wasn't focusing on the fact that I had made, this guy's day better by, going up to, hey, famous guy, hugging a guy. I walked away thinking that guy has just made my day. He made my day. I didn't give him his value back by lifting him up. He gave me my value back by reminding me that what I do and how I act is impactful and is important on other people. Now, some of the people, how people think about everyone that's watching this, when you look in the mirror, you see one person. You see this physical you. But what you're not seeing is that beautiful person that we all see. When we are looking at you, I don't see that you got cellulite. I don't see that, you got man titties. What I see is the beautiful person that sits underneath, because the rest is just bullshit. It's all fake. So my task for everyone out there is every single day, find two people and give them their value back. Give them their value back. Try and make it two people that, are not watching this video, because you go up to someone who's watching this fucking video, they go, fuck, I was there, bro. Don't try that shit on me. Find two people every day and give them their value back, particularly when you are smashing yourself. Because it's not so much what you are doing for the other person, is what that other person is doing for you. Because when you see the look in their eyes when you give them their value back, it gives you your value back. And all of this mask, all of this bullshit that we're wearing on the outside, it means nothing. Change how you think about stuff. You are not losing weight to look better. That's not the point of this whole exercise. The whole point of this exercise is to be a better human being. If I be a better human being, I mean staying alive longer so you can give more people their value back. That is the secret to good mental health. That's all it is. All that other bullshit out the window. It's about the power that you have to lift other people up.
So powerful. That's, it's so powerful, bro. It's like, I remember I met you, me and my mate, Rob, we came to meet you just before Christmas. And I wanted to speak to you about, man, I'm struggling. I feel like it's a burden on me, and I just need to talk to you and ask you for some advice. So we met at down the bridge.
The office.
Yeah, down at the office. And you said to, you said that, you brought up how you talked to the parking warden. And I said, I hate those bastards. I bloody charged them heaps when I went and spoke for them down in Wellington. And he goes, bro, they're only feeding their family. They're only doing what they're doing to feed their family. And it just straight away switched. And I went, shit, you're right. You're right. I want to hunt these bastards down when they give me tickets, but they're doing that.
But you say hello to every time you say hello to a parking warden, they look like that fellow that was in the tour. Hey, because they're so wild. But even though they're getting all of this abuse, and no one wants to be abused, they still get up every day to feed their goddamn family, right?
Yeah. That's so. It's just everything makes sense. It's just the stuff you're talking about, the inner critic. It's something. Ever since I heard you talk about that at the last time when you'd done a speak for our tamariki, I don't tell you, sorry. I use it all the time, the inner critic, because we use it in training. You know, when the inner critic's telling you to stop, you've had enough. Just quit now. We say, don't listen.
People say to me all the time, I've got to get rid of that. No, you can't. Having an inner critic's like sitting in a traffic jam. I was in before the lockdown, I was on the Southern Motorway, man. And, it's a car park. And there was a dude beside me just losing his shit, just fucking raging, and he's trying to get in. I just stopped, let him in, He got about 5 cars ahead of me by the time we got to the end of the motorway. But he was raging against the machine, right? But none of it was helping him, and trying to ignore your inner critic is like trying to ignore a fucking baby in the back of your car that's screaming. As soon as you try to, it just screams louder and louder and louder. So what has to change in this situation is how we think about it. When your inner critic starts beating you up, when you're halfway up that hill and you can't get there, think of the worst name that you could give a child. Like for me, that name is Wayne. Why? Because my last name King, Wayne King. Fuck, who wants to name their kid Wayne King, right? So name your inner critic that child and engage with it. When you're halfway up that hill and you think you can't do it, oh, hello, Wayne. I wondered where you was, man. Come on, come and take the walk together. The last thing your inner critic wants you to do is to praise him and welcome him into the training session. He wants you to be scared of him. He's like that father that, didn't spare the rod. He wants you to be scared. He doesn't want your love. So all we have to do is change how we think about shit.
Yeah.
If you keep raging and you keep getting upset and keep beating yourself up, he is winning. So whatever name that you can think of, which is the shittiest name, it might even be Mike. But use that name. Don't run from it. Don't run from it, man. It's like running from yourself. No matter where you go, there is no geographical solution to the inner critic, because wherever you go, he goes with you, she goes with you. That's why you see some people go, I gotta move down to Wellington, man. I gotta start over. It's not gonna help. Why? Because you're taking your inner critic with you. He's gonna go wherever you're gonna go.
Oh, man, this is so awesome, bro. We just got a few questions here, bro. Don't want to keep you for too long. We just got a handful.
No, as long as you want, bro. I'm all good.
So this is one here. It's got, how do you get someone to accept the help with all the resources sitting waiting for them?
Yeah, this is the most common one, man. And the only way. Like you heard the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Because look, so what you've got to do is you've got to actually think about this holistically. Like at the moment, you're right up in the face and you're going, man, the help's here. Fuck, I don't need your help. Who the fuck you think you are? But I did it. Yeah, but you needed to do it, you fat bastard. Look at you. I'm not right. So they're pushing back. They're pushing back. So what you need to do is there's a couple of strategies that you can use, right? But one of the big ones is ask yourself why they won't do this, why they won't listen to you. Why isn't this person listening to you? Well, it could be that you're too close to your family and no one ever listened to family, right? Or it could be, and this is more common. So that person has had their inner critic. Remember, everyone's got an inner critic, right? So a lot of what they're saying isn't them, it is their inner critic, their acceptance, their inner critic. So for a lot of these people, their whole lives, they've been bought into loving relationships, smack back down, bought in, smack back down. I'll always be there for. I'm not there. Dad's going to come around and pick you up on Saturday. What happened? Oh, sorry, son. Daddy had to work. Always been constantly let down. So think of these people like they've been wounded as a child, right? They've been wounded as a child, and and the inner critic finally goes, "Fuck it. No one is going to hurt you again." And he takes that innocent child and he locks him away in the heart. And then they park the taniwha at the door, right? So every time someone comes in to show them love, and trust me, that little boy, that little girl, they want to be loved more than anything in the world. They just want someone who is going to come in and take them away and make all the hurt go away. But when someone gets too close, the fear of having their heart broken, the taniwha goes, and push back. You see this all the time, in our communities. You see these people, they're all in the garage party, kaze, I love you, my kaze. And then someone starts coming towards them and, like starting to make the innocent child come out and is that fucking right? Is it? Suddenly that anger comes. This is a protection mechanism that we use. And it's called poking the bear from the other person. But so this person is fearing that you've just said that I can help you and help's here, but I've been to help before. You need to go see. I seen a counselor. They just made shit worse and they took my money off me. You told me that was going to. Lots of people been telling me this shit and it's not helping. So create that understanding of what the full package is, right? So now we know why this rejection is. When people come near them and you say, no, I promise, I told you. Nah, man, everyone said they had my, but I got your back. Oh, you got my back. So then they'll poke the bear, right? Oh, you got my back, have you? Poke. You got my back. You said you got my back. Eventually, when people start poking you, fuck you. I told you, but told you they don't love you. So solutions. If it's a whānau member, you're too close. So what you can do is you can find someone, especially if it's one of your kids, right? Find someone that your kids relate to. Find someone that your kids look up to, and it could be someone you don't like, but find someone that your kids relate to and give them all the information and give them all the solution. So you still go up, find out where the work is. Don't go say, I'll find a counselor. If you like, I'll find them a counselor, but then expect them to pay that. That's not a solution. You can't give someone, oh, it's right here. Well, how much I got? $140. Well, I ain't got no 140. All you've actually done is you've dangled a carrot in front of them. Ooh, nah. Come here, go away, go. You've got to come up with the full solution. Like, I got a counselor. We're all going to team together. We're going to pay for 3 sessions, but it can't come from me. Whatever the solution is in your mind, right? And then give it to someone else. And like I said, it might be someone that you don't even like. For example, my older kids, they go to my sister and my older sister. And guess what? She's an ass. I can't stand the book. They'll cut her off on Facebook, email, cut her right off. But my kids, I still let my kids go and see her. Why? Because she will die for my kids, right? So just be, and so many people, they won't use these avenues of help because of something that person's done to them. Well, it's not about you. Stop making it about you and make it about your kids, man. I have, parents come to me and go, oh, my baby's this and my baby's that, and she's suicidal. Okay, so what's the relationship like with the father? That asshole, he never allowed to see him. So what's their relationship? She loved her there. So what you're telling me is you would rather your child die than go to the one. So stop making it about you. Sure, he's done all of these things, but this is what they need right now. So that's one strategy. If it's a friend, what we all do is when it's a friend, a bunch of us might go around to their house. A bunch of us might go around to their house and go, man, you're loved. And, we just want you to know we're here for you, man. And he's feeling the love and everyone's having a good time. The second you all walk out the door, there's then the critics going at it. Look, don't go around in packs. Or if you do go around in packs the first time, great. But then your group has to strategically make sure someone is calling in every single day and reporting back to the group about the feedback that they got on that day. But you've got to keep going in because one person can't continue to be poked all the time. Yeah. And the third option that I have is make yourself someone safe who they can talk to. Like I said, we all wear our masks and we all pretend we got our shit together. So no one else wants to, you can't burden them, man. They got all their shit together. Everyone got their shit together. You're not going to reveal yourself and make yourself vulnerable in front of all of those people. So make yourself an island. Why do so many people come and talk to me? Why do kids talk to me about their suicidal thoughts? Why do adults come to me about their depression? Because I'm open about my shit. Everyone knows that I'm someone safe. I have a lived experience. So make yourself an island. How do you make yourself an island? By getting your shit out there. But when you get your shit out there, it's always about timing.
Yeah.
Never put your shit out there when a friend is down, right? Because when, I know what happened, man. I was there. I went to the fridge too, but look at me now. So what you think you're saying to this person is, you think you're saying, hey, man, I've been there. We can get through this. That's your intention, but it's not your intention that counts. It's how that intention is received. Because what they're getting straight away, say, even when you're shit, you're perfect. See, they perfect, man, all the time. You're the only failure. So the time to reveal your vulnerability is after training, man. You know, when you're all out on the hills and you're all on the stairs and you're all exhausted, before you go home from those sessions, you should, man, that was a great session today. And look around. Hey, man, I'm so glad that you guys are here, because here's what's been going on in my life. Everyone's feeling good at this point. You're going to go home and everyone is going to feel better about everything because they're learning some. Now, someone might not say anything in that moment, but I guarantee you, they know from now on you are an island that they can safely float their boat at, put their anchor down, because you're so. Yeah, so those are my 3 tips about helping people. And finally, look, one of the biggest things we do is we try and fix people. Human beings is we want to fix people because that's who we are, right? You know, and when we can't fix someone, shit, as soon as I can't fix someone, I've got to step back and I've got to walk away. And now you're giving food to that person. Look, our job isn't to fix anyone. We are not qualified to fix anyone. We are also not qualified to take on other people's problems. The only thing that we are qualified to give anyone is unconditional love and hope. What does that look like? So, when you come to me, Dave, if you ever have a problem and you come to me, I won't try and fix you. I won't take your problem on. But I will pathway you to the help that you need. I won't ever tell you to go and get help. I will offer to come and get the help with you. I will find the help. If you need to go and see one man, go see a doctor, I'll come with you to the doctor. If you want to go to therapy or anything like dude that can take on this therapy, but you don't have to walk the therapy path alone, man. I'll come with you. I will sit outside. I will sit in there with you. I will wait for you. We will go for coffee afterwards. I will not ask you any stupid questions about what went on in there. I might pull your chain a bit, but that's because I love you. But I'm going to walk with you the whole way. The loneliest feeling in the world is trying to walk somewhere by yourself. So walk with someone. The most valuable thing you can give to anyone is your time.
Yeah. That's true. Like just what you're talking about, that last point where you said, about being an island and after training, expose. It's exactly what, after every session at BBM, we get together for a photo and then the leader will get up and we talk and say, oh man, that was so tough. And we talk about experiences that we've gone through. We go, oh man, I felt like giving up, but I remembered why I'm doing this. I looked over at you guys trying hard. And so we open ourselves up and make ourselves vulnerable.
Vulnerability is the staunchest, strongest thing any man or woman can give. And as I say, man, the fact that we're not showing vulnerability to our kids is having a devastating, because they know when you're struggling, man. They know when you haven't got your shit together. And if you're not, and the reason we don't share and discuss is because we've been brought up old school, never show vulnerability in front of kids, man. Always got to put on your game face because it'll scare the kids, and the kids need to know that not bullshit. They know. And by you not sharing with your loved ones, by you not sharing with your kids, with your struggles, now you are forcing them to think, why is my dad doing this? And when we're in that position, because we've all got inner critics, it's always, I must be a disappointment to my dad. I must be, man, if I wasn't here, my family could have their shit together. So you are forcing, if it's your wife, if you're not sharing with your wife, first thing she's saying, that motherfucker's cheating on me. That's what he's doing. I saw the way he looked at that bitch. So you are giving food to someone else's inner critic. That's why it is important. Like my kids, my wife, they know when I'm in the shit, right? They know when I'm in the shit, but if I don't acknowledge it, I'm forcing them to walk around on eggshells. And my wife to say shit like, if you don't take this the wrong way, but have you taken your pills? Have you taken your pills? You know, I'm forcing them. The only thing worse than someone than living with a problem and struggling is living with someone who has a problem, who is struggling, and who is not acknowledging it.
Mm.
This is the things that we need to do. Share your vulnerability. If you want your kids to speak up about their problems, guess what, tough guy? You got to speak up and talk about your problems. Our kids don't learn by what you say. They learn by what they see. And if all they ever see in front of them is a staunch, hard ass, whether it's a dad or a mom, that's all they're going to be, man. That's it. That I'm a staunch hard. So if you want to talk, you've got to teach. Teachers teach with their actions, not with their words.
Oh, that's cool, man. It's so amazing hearing you talk about all this, because everything we preach and teach in BBM, you know. Bro, we've only got 2 more. My son's starting to break down, so I'd like to know more about his experience and the reasons why our stats.
Okay, this is a good one, right? So everyone thinks that our stats are climbing every year. They're not really. This 24 of suicide has always been there, but there's so much stigma around it, right? So there's a lot of underreporting going on, a lot of underreporting. But as the threshold comes down and more people are talking about it, and there is more acceptance, then the numbers will climb. So what I believe we are getting at the moment, the numbers aren't going up. It's just, you know, we're actually starting to report the legit numbers, and the legit numbers, you know, for me are, you know, closer to 1,000 than they are to where we're at now. So they're going to continue to climb until we get to a stage where, you know, the true numbers are. And once there is that acceptance, and there's that acceptance that we can start talking about this subject, and more people realize that the inner critic is the biggest burden on people. I guarantee you, every single person who has contemplated suicide or is suicidal, not one of them wakes up in the morning and goes, wow, what a great day. I know I could kill myself. That's what I can do. Every single one of them, I guarantee you, is sitting there going, yeah, you're a useless piece of shit. No one cares. Everyone will be better off without you, man. Just let's get the fuck out of here. So as more and more people understand that we all have suicidal thoughts, man. Like, if you haven't left your house one time in your life and walked out the door and go, fuck it, man, what's the point? Then you need to get out of that marshmallow you're living in and live a life, man. You're living way too safe. So we all have these thoughts, but we've got to reframe how we think about thoughts. A thought is an option. Now, we're always telling kids to put all the options on the table when they think about life, right? You know, well, what school you want to go to? Oh, have you thought about all the options? What job you want to do? Have you thought about, well, who's your boyfriend? Have you thought about all the options there? So you got to put we're telling our kids to think about all the options when it comes to buying a car. Have you thought about all the options? Except when it comes to life and death, we automatically go, you can't think that. And as soon as you tell someone they can't think about something, that's all they do, think about it over and over and over again. So for me, it's about putting the options on the table. So when I go and see kids who are suicidal, right, in the lockdown units, first thing they say, you want to kill yourself? Yeah, I do. Yeah. Okay, cool. You know, figured out how you're going to do it. What? You think figured out how you're going to do it, because, you know, shit, there's ways out there that can really hurt, man. So and I'm like, yeah, I'm not telling you, because as soon as I tell you can't think about that or you can't do that, you know, automatically going to think about it. So, you know, it's an option. It's on the table. It's on the table. You can kill yourself. You can kill yourself anytime you want. There it is, on the table. Now, is there anything here that's going to keep you here? No, nothing. I want to. Well, so, you know, what do you want to do? What do you, I like hanging out at the skate park. Cool. Let's put that on there. What do you do at the skate park? We smoke weed. Yeah, man, smoke all the weed you want. What, really? Yeah, smoke weed. Want to drink some piss too? Yeah, want to drink piss. Yeah, put that on the table too. So you go to school. I hate school. So you never have to go to school again. So if I give you all that, that be worth sticking around for? Oh, maybe. Okay, cool. We'll put that option up the table, right? Now we've got two options on the table. Now you can see the dilemma that I'm in now, right? Because I got to go back and talk to your parents, right? And I can say, well, the two options we got is he want to get stoned every day, hang out at the park with the people that you don't like, and get drunk and never go to school again, or death. How are you expecting me to sell this shit to your parents? I'm sure if death's still on the table, I can get them to buy this one here for a while. I can get them to buy it for a while. But these are the two options that you're giving me. So you have got a reason to live and you have got a reason to die. Now, somewhere in the middle is some middle ground, man. So let's find that. Let's find that.
Yeah.
So, short answer to your question, the numbers aren't going up. I believe that there's more true reporting coming in.
How's things going with that? You're dealing with the Ministry of Health and the government?
Bro, it's a real struggle. So I had this, idea, because when you talk to our academic experts and all the rest of them, and they keep saying, no one knows why people want to take their own lives, man. Well, I've read a lot of suicide notes, Dave. I've spoken to a lot of people. So I give my talk and I talk about the inner critic, and I have, old farmers, man, come up and go, man, everything you said is what my son goes through, man. Here's the letter that he left behind. So, and in these letters, there are three reasons people want to take their lives, the common theme. So the three reasons people want to take their own life: one, I'm hurting, I'm in pain, and I want the pain to stop. Not just physical pain, that hurt that you have when someone breaks off with you, that really burning. And everyone goes, oh man, time's a great healer, but every day you wake up and it's worse, and I just want the pain to stop. So one, I'm hurting. Two, I'm causing hurt. Man, I feel like a burden to everyone, and everyone will be better off without me, man. I walk in the room, I suck the oxygen from the room. My family sigh when they see me. My friends don't call me. If I wasn't here, you fellas can get on with your life. So one, I'm hurting. Two, I'm causing hurt. Three, and that's more common in males and younger people. One, I'm hurting. Two, I'm causing hurt. Three, I want to cause hurt. You hurt me, now I'm going to hurt you in the ultimate way. So, at the heart of most suicidal thinking, it's just people who are hurting. They're not drama queens. They're not attention seekers. They're not cowards. They're people who are in pain and they want the pain to stop. Now, understanding when you have a suicidal person in front of you who is someone who is hurting, not someone who wants to hurt you particularly, but someone who is hurting. Our job as human beings is to carry them there. So I figured out that there are some common themes in these letters. So a simple process. Why don't I get those letters and give them to a researcher to study if there's any common themes, right? Pretty simple. Put out a request for 1,000 letters. I think we've got about 140 letters, plus another 100 people who had an attempt at suicide and survived after hospitalization or being revived by someone else, to talk about what was going on and what were the things, to see what the common things were. For me, if you want to, if you want to know where to go to, you got to look back, and there's all this really valuable information there. We've got 147 complaints. We've got the Health and Disability Commissioner is investigating those complaints and vigorously smashing me over what we're doing. Had the chair of the Ethics Committee. It's one of the biggest committees in the country, the chairwoman demanding that I burn these letters, and what I'm doing is completely unsafe. you know, I've got the Mental Health Foundation, victims of all these people who just, you know, and everything they are saying is based on supposition. And basically, what they are saying to me is, you're not qualified to do any of this shit. This has to be done by a university. Guess what? I offered it to Auckland University first. I said, here's all the letters. Can you do the research for me? And they said, no. Who do you think you are? You got to go through this process. So I offered it to the people so, you know, they could do it well. And they didn't do it. So as a result of that, I lost the chairman of my board, who is a qualified psychotherapist. And the next chair of my board who came in, who is one of the only Pacific Island psychiatrists in the country, an amazing, amazing man, because he stood up for what we are doing as the chair of our board. He is now under investigation from his board of psychiatrists, and he could lose his job over and lose his career over this. So these Rob McHawk is this guy's name who's doing all of this, and it's all based on supposition and bullshit. And what it really is about, it's a war. You know, it's a battle of personalities. I don't fit the who is this fucking uppity Māori who thinks that he can come in and tell us how we're doing. I trained for 16 years for this job. My response to that is, what if everything you've been taught is wrong? What if everything, you know, is wrong? So we're carrying on with it, bro. I've got 2 researchers working on the project. Those results will come out in the second half of this year. The 2 researchers that I'm using both work for the Ministry of Health. Both of them worked on depression.org, and both of them's identity will remain anonymous for the rest of their lives, because as soon as I tell people who they are, as soon as I tell these people who they are, they'll lose their job. So in answer to your question, it's a battle. And it's not a battle really because these people don't care. It's a battle about territory. People feel threatened by what we do. We refuse government funding. I refuse to get paid. We don't apply for government funding. We don't accept government funding. I refuse to be paid by my charity to do the work that I do. And we don't charge schools. We don't charge communities. And so we are a threat. We are a threat to people's funding. So, you know, I accept that that's going to happen. And, you know, I call myself a positive disruptor. You know, Gumboot Friday, for example. Man, you want to know the truth about Gumboot Friday this year? We're hoping to raise $5 million. You want to know how much we raised on the day, bro? 22,000. I was completely devastated, man. I cried myself to sleep night after night because we only raised $22,000 on the day for free kids counseling. These counseling sessions save lives. And what really hurt more, and I'm not getting at people, you know, there was a story on the news about people donating heaps of cash to the animals in the zoo. I'm like, you know, like, animals important, yes, cool, that's massive, but these are kids' lives, man. And so, yeah, I even got complaints with the Health Disabilities Commissioner about Gumboot Friday. And I said, well, what's the problem now? You're raising people's expectations. And, you know, I said, what does that mean? We're just trying to fill a gap by giving. Yeah, but when you run out of money, you're causing more damage. So I'm going, so what you're saying to me is I see 5 kids in the middle of the road and an out of control truck is coming out at them. I run out and save 2 people, but I miss the other 3. And I'm the bad guy? What, you think I should have just left all 5 say, sorry, kids, can't save everyone because the other 3 will get resentful, so you all get hit by the truck together. Their logic does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. So
that's the problem with the system. I mean, we both had the same issues.
You know, man, you know what you are doing is better than anything anyone else is doing. It's about self-motivation. But I guarantee you, there are people who are sitting in the diabetes with all of them. What he's doing is raising people's expectations, and he's putting pressure on hearts that can't have that pressure. He's killing people. That's what he's, and I guarantee you, bro, all the experts who are watching you do what you do are waiting for the first person to have a heart attack and die on your stairs so they can go, ha, told you. Why? Because you're threatening the environment. You are actually motivating people to motivate themselves. And they don't see, and I'm being cynical, but they don't see sick people. They see dollar bills, man. You are taking food off their table. You are a threat. I'm not saying everyone thinks like that. There are some really cool people out there, but that's the bottom line. I remember a whole lot of counselors who turned around and said that last year when our money ran out, that, now there are suicidal kids out there that are going to die because there's no money left. And I'm like, well, just see them for free. Just see them for free. If you won't see someone who is suicidal, if you won't talk to someone and help someone who you would rather let them die, I don't think I'm the problem here. I don't think I'm the problem.
Yeah. Oh man, it's just it's so powerful. That's why everything we do is free. And I remember I was talking to you about it, and it's
I
funny.
guarantee you, man, but you're bored. You're bored. Love your board, but they'll be going, man, you should be charging for this. People can pay. But it's not the point, right?
But the funny thing was when we first started hanging out, you'd give me one-liners in my boxing matches, man. And then I started coming to you for advice on this stuff, So it's just it's just been an amazing journey, bro. Just to finish on, bro, how can people donate? How do they find out more? I will post, if you email me something, I can post it in the.
Honestly, I don't want our people to donate because I know for a fact that those with the least give the most. All I want is for your people to get themselves I want you all to get to a better place, because once you're in a better place, that is the best thing that you can give to me, is by changing who you are, you can change the world. That is the best gift anyone can give me. Also, anyone out there who has any questions and wants to ask anything about this session or has someone who's struggling, my phone number is 021 448 789. That's 021 448 789. You can drop me a text. I can't fix you. I can't take your problem on, but I can definitely pathway you to any help that you need. So please don't be shy. 021 448 789. 021 hit 789. Boom.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, and always appreciate your support, bro. And just a quick story to finish. When we were at the first year, when you got nominated for New Zealand of the Year, and I was there. I was nominated for Hero of the Year. And
geez, I don't know what it was, but you look shot.
Okay, man. And I'd gone and I went to a suit place in Parnell. I was on my way to Hallensteins to meet my dad to buy us a suit at Hallensteins, but I knew a distant relative that worked in Parnell. So I went there and I tried on the suit, and oh man, it looked good. And he says, "Oh, bro, I'll help you out. Cuzzy. It's only $2." I just thought straight away 200. And I went, oh, awesome, bro. I'm going to bring my dad here. I'm going to get him a suit here too. I got to the FPOS and it was $2,000. And I'd only just sold my car, so I had the money in there. And I wasn't making any money, and but the ego in me.
Yeah, you're in the crazy game, man. You can't do that, man. You got to buy this shit, man.
Exactly. That's what it was. And I said, I just acted like it wasn't a problem. Like I was loaded. Yep, sweet. No worries, bro. I went out. I called my wife, and she goes, "Take it back." I said, I can't now. I've got. So anyway, I went to Helen Stein's. I met Dad. Bought him his $200 suit.
You look sharper.
Everyone was complimenting my dad's suit, and I was getting pissed off. And then I saw you, and I told you, and and you were so good, man. The next day, you said, "Send me your account number, and I'll send you some money, bro." I know what I've been there before too, and that's always sticks in my mind. So thank you, brother, for everything you do for everyone.
You for everything that you do, bro. I mean, I'm a big supporter of everything you do, and I'm a big supporter of your peeps. And when I go down to Maungari, I, quite often see the BBMers who are coming off the Maunga there and walking down the road. And the thing that I love about it is you can feel and you can see the warmth, man. And that inner strength comes from the angels lifting us up. So we've just got to work out how we can keep those angels there for longer. So I love you, fellas. 021448789.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, T. All right.